Okay, we're going to be talking about World Mobile Token, WMT, and well, how its price action has been slipping over the last few months, just in line with the rest of the crypto market. But there are a few things that are worth kind of noting, because I do think that World Mobile and everything that they're doing from a fundamental standpoint are fantastic. And I think World Mobile Token will, at some point in the very near future, represent the fantastic work that they are doing. And as such, I do think we are finding ourselves with some huge opportunities to build some fantastic positions in WMT ahead of what happens next. Now, you can let me know what your thoughts are on all of that in the comments down below, but in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at that technical analysis on the daily and weekly timeframes. And I'll be sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the best dollar cost averaging value and areas are, and where I think the price action could be heading in the 2025 bull market. And again, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's jump into the charts and take a look at what's going on with World Mobile Token. So here we have WMT paired up with USDT, and we're on the 1-day Binance chart. Sorry, we're on the 1-day KuCoin chart, sorry. Okay, and we can see we had a recent low in June 2023. And I say recent, to a degree, we're on a daily chart, right? So we know that that's our swing low, our bear market low for World Mobile Token, coming in at 9.75 cents. We then have our swing high coming in at 46.44 cents, which was over in April of 2024. We saw this fantastic run to the upside from the low to the high, which represented 376%. Since then, the price action has been, well, it's been slippage, right? We've seen the rest of the market, we've seen Bitcoin, we've seen a lot stalling out. But is this move all that bad? There's a few things I need to discuss with you guys about it. Okay, so we can see the initial pull to the downside. And if we take the measurement of this, okay, so we're going to go ahead and just measure this distance out using the Fibonacci tool. We're going to go ahead and put it on the bounce just over here. We can see that we came down to the 1.236 already on this structure. Okay, so sat right inside here. Okay, so we already came down deeper. We actually came down deeper than the 1.382. Okay, and these are really important Fibonacci levels. Okay, so we were unable to hold the 1.618, the 1.236 and the 1.382, but we did not come down to the 1.618. And that's really important because 1.618 represents a trend. Once you kind of go down like this and you hit a 1.618, well, you're going to be looking at some pretty bad negative bearish movements for price action. But we haven't done that. We have gone down to the 1.382, however, and that is, well, not the best. It's going to present ourselves with some pretty good, in my opinion, opportunities for dollar cost averaging the price action of World Mobile Token. So let's go ahead and take a look at where things could be going. Okay, based on our existing swing bounce higher that we've had at the minute, we could potentially be looking for this price action to come down quite aggressively. But there's a caveat here. We would typically see this kind of bouncing in this kind of range between 50 and 1.236. Okay, so that basically tells us that we're looking for a range between 8.39 and 14.63. Okay, this pocket right inside here. Okay, so it's an interesting range. Now that would make a W, X, Y, X, and Z pattern. Okay, so we'd be very mindful over this, how this would kind of play out, but it would be a W, X, Y, X, and Z. Okay, and that Z is going to be in that kind of box range there. Okay, so a few things of thought to think about there within all of that range, but for the most part, that's going to be kind of the interesting range to kind of keep an eye on. Now, what's going on from our move to the upside? Because now we can see this, we can think, okay, well, there's potentially some bearishness going on here, but it is a corrective pattern, meaning that it's short-lived. And there's a few things on there that's kind of worth noting as well. If I go ahead and remove the WXYXZ, but leave the yellow box, what we can do is we can also take stock of the trend lines that are going on. If we pull this trend line down into here, and we, of course, pull in the trend line from the downside over to here, we can see that this is actually a falling wedge. Okay, and a falling wedge is a bullish breakout pattern, although bearish on the short time frame, in this particular case the daily, as in we could be bearish for a little while, is going to break to the upside, and that's an important thing to also note. Now, the other thing that I want to draw in here is going to be a Fibonacci retracement from the actual movement, from the swing low to the high. Okay, so going from 9.75 to 46.4. every movement in here is actually going to be a Fibonacci level. Okay, and it's quite interesting when we start taking a look at it from that kind of point of view. If I go ahead and just push this over to the right hand side so we can see all the Fibonacci numbers with our current and existing price action, what do we see? Well, we can see some really interesting things, such as where our current price has bounced from. It's bounced from the 786 Fibonacci level, 13.62 cents. Okay, so some really interesting stuff to kind of note here is that this is where traders typically kind of want to kind of resonate it. They bounce, they buy, they sell based on Fibonacci numbers. Now, they might not know it intrinsically, but it's kind of like you feel like things are overpriced or you feel like things are cheap at certain levels. And it happens to coincide with the Fibonacci sequences. Okay, so 786 is a key area and 0.618 is a key area, which if you take a look at this, you can see this is a previous area of consolidation on multiple occasions. Okay, it's not a coincidence. Okay, so where we are right now is on the 50% level, and that is going to be our resistance. Okay, as you can see, was support on the 50% level, and now it's turning to resistance. Okay, so this is resistance for us like it was previously, and there's also an area right over here where it's also consolidated quite a bit. Okay, so it's important that we understand that what we're looking at from the Fibonacci levels is that we are coming up against resistance on price action right now, right in line with the 50 SMA, the 50 EMA, right in here on this daily time frame. Okay, so price action has the ability to go down further. That is kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for rejection. Our stochastic RSIs are in the high ranges. They're not in the best position, so we will be looking for momentum to shift. I am looking for Bitcoin's momentum to go back down. We are looking for pretty much many altcoins that are overbought and kind of buying is exhausted. We are looking for those to kind of shift down, have some profits taken off the table. And so the market, in my opinion, is likely to reduce. What does that mean for me? Well, if I'm taking a look at this and I'm going to say to myself, where do I think the maximum value is going to be? I think the maximum value sits between the 50% area and the 88.2% area. That is this pocket right in here. Okay, so this is where I think the dollar cost averaging value should be found, basically between 11.72 and 21.28. Anywhere in this box, in my opinion, is where the value is. This is where we want to be buying because we think the price is going to blow up and explode massively in the future, which is kind of why I opened up the video talking about the fundamental side, because what they are doing in the real world is massive. And I do think that WMT token is going to represent that kind of massive value that they actually bring into the real world utility. And WMT at the moment doesn't represent, in my opinion, the true value of the project. The project is worth, in my opinion, significantly more. So I think we are going to see a bit of a call off, but this is going to be a great opportunity for dollar cost averaging, building out massive positions in WMT before we get into the next bullish market, which I'm going to roll this up into a weekly time frame and explain what I'm looking for. Here you can see what I'm looking for, actually pre-drawn on here. I'm looking for a big wave 3 movement. I think that what we've seen so far from that low to that high, the 9.75 to the 46.44, this is actually, in my opinion, a expanding diagonal structure. I could be wrong, but that's kind of where I sit with it at the minute, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Just in here, if I draw this on, you can see it expands out. Okay, and why do I think that? Well, I think the structures are very interesting. It's very much a 5-wave movement, but it doesn't really constitute the WXYX structure. So to me, it looks more likely to be a big explosive diagonal, an expanding diagonal. This is then followed by a typical wave 2 retracement, which is why I think the value is right in there between 88.2% and 50%, basically 11.72 to the 21.28, because that is typically the wave 2 area. Okay, so this is the logic that I'm following here. We have the expanding diagonal, which is usually a wave 1. Or a wave 5. It's not a wave 5 position, so it's going to be a wave 1 position. Could be an A wave, but very irregular for that, but it could be, which still means we're going to see explosive growth regardless. So I'm looking at this as a wave 1 in this example, and our value is within the typical wave 2 retracement, which is where prices currently come down to. So we're looking at basically buying WMT tokens between 11.72 and 21.28. And at the point of recording, we're at 20 cents. So we're within the dollar cost averaging parameter parameters of what I'm thinking is where the value is. Of course, things might go down lower. I expect they probably will, but I don't think it's going to be massively lower, and I don't think we're going to break the existing low that we saw in June of 2023. Therefore, I'm looking for big explosive moves to the upside. Where do those explosive moves have to go? Well, for that, we obviously use our Fibonacci tools once again. If we do come down, let's say, to 1172, just be on the real bearish side of things. If we do that, our impulsive breakout gets hit right up here at $1.46. We then pull down into the kind of typical wave 4, and then we would have another surge to the upside, where I think we have the ability for World Mobile Token WMT to actually breach the $2 level. Okay, previous all-time high, according to the data on KuCoin here, sits at 91.28. So we aren't talking about massive breakouts above and beyond that, because I do think that's only going to represent 126% from the previous all-time high. From our existing low, though, we could potentially be talking about around 2,000%. Again, not necessarily they're going to be the projects that are degen and it's going to give you significant returns like 10,000, 20,000 or something like that. But it's very, very good returns on your investment nonetheless. And of course, I could be really underplaying it, and we might see significantly further. But for now, this is what the data looks like, and this is kind of where my thoughts are with WMT. But I do think we are in a pretty sweet spot for buying, so I'm taking advantage of that. I'm going to be in this pocket, basically dollar cost averaging and building out my positions in WMT, and you guys can let me know what you're planning to do. Are you going to be buying like I am, or are you going to be sitting on the sides waiting for more information, more data, or maybe not that interested in WMT token, but maybe more interested in the actual project, maybe the air nodes and all that kind of stuff, and maybe making some passive income, actually operating stuff. So let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server linked in the description. Guys, check out my second channel over here for the technical analysis on Cardano. Smash the like button if you're new, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.